This video's not made for kids, you crazy bitch-ass bastard!
Come with me to the Cedrian Isle off the coast of Britain. It's about 60 miles. There's good and there's bad and there's stuff in between. With steamies and diesels, you'll see what I mean. People and parcels, works lots of fun. Watch these engines out in the snow, rain, and sun. They work real hard, they stay on track. Oh no, there's some baddies, just watch your back. Are you looking for fun? Yes, we're looking for fun. Are you being really useful? We're being really useful. Sit back and relax. It's the tales of the Northwestern Rails. It's the tales of the Northwestern Rails. Hope you enjoy. What the dickens, Tiger Moth?
Seven months. 7 long months of this vast briny blue journey. But at long last, Thomas made landfall in Japan. He was brought to Shimizu port, and he examined his surroundings, eager to see his friend.
At long last, I'm finally here. Japan! Now to fulfill my promise.
And sure enough, he heard big puffing noises, followed by a whistle he hadn't heard in a while.
Is that Hiro?
Thomas! You're here!
Hiro! I've missed you so very much!
And I've missed you so very much too. It has been so long.
Too long. You have no idea what we've been through back home. From the pandemic, to a reboot, a kidnapping, even a shortage of coal.
Well, I am so glad you could make it. Though the bamboo forest is dense, water flows through it without effort. I would love to show you around, but first, I'd like you to meet Sir Takabashi Hideki. Konnichiwa, okigen desu ka?
Konnichiwa, sir. What was the rest?
He said, how are you today?
Oh, well, in that case, I'm doing just well, thank you. Hiro was just going to show me around, if that's alright.
Hiro and Sir Takabashi talked over, and the controller delightfully agreed.
Fantastic! Come on, Thomas. Let us go sightseeing.
Thomas and Hiro left the port and viewed the Japanese countryside. They first explored some wonderful-looking plants, from irises to cherry blossoms.
Wow. Cherry blossoms seem to be a common tree in Asia. I saw them in India and China, but they're still pretty to look at.
Next, they explored some temples and shrines.
My word, the shrines are such an amazing structure.
And finally, they puffed around the city. One of them had an actual working giant robot.
Incredible! That's twice the size of the robot from the technology fair a few years back.
Look at that, Thomas. Isn't Japan wonderful?
Of all the countries I've visited, this is by far the best one yet.
Just then, Thomas looked up and saw another familiar friend.
Kenji! Konnichiwa!
Thomas? Konnichiwa! It's so good to see you again after 4 long years. How are you liking Japan so far?
It's great! We saw some really cool landmarks.
Later on, Thomas and Hiro arrived at the Shin Osaka station. Thomas marveled at the terminal when he heard a pompous voice next to him.
Excuse me, you pair of steam-powered transports, do you mind? The weather is supposed to be clear skies, so no humidity from your steam, if you please.
E10, shouldn't you be at work? You've got wheels. Why not you just roll away from the steamies if you hate them so much?
With a snort, E10 departed from the station.
That's a Z. I'm really sorry you had to deal with it.
Who even was that engine?
That was just E10. He is not fond of steam locomotion.
He's a modern technologies type of guy from the computers to the MATTEL trains.
Maglev trains? Is that how you say it?
MATTEL trains are trains driven with electronics rails rather than the normal rails. The magnet repel against each other and help the train move.
So, they're high-speed trains that can float in the air. How bizarre.
Come along now, Thomas. We better continue the rest of the way to the Kyoto Railway Museum.
Great too. My, what a trip. Have fun there, Thomas and Hiro-san.
So Thomas and Hiro proceeded to Kyoto, where they finally made it to the Railway Museum. Numerous engines, as well as Hiro's friends, were there too.
Konnichiwa, Hiro. Oh, and who do we have here?
Konnichiwa. My name is Thomas.
Greetings, Thomas-san. Welcome to the Kyoto Railway Museum. We are honored to have you here in Japan.
How exciting! Last time I've been in a museum was in 1990. I saw plenty of engines there.
Well, you won't be disappointed. We got plenty more of us. There's Hachiroko, Dorbs, Kitson, B20, 9633. Yushanetone! Let our guest see the other engines for himself. Yes. I apologize. On with the tour!
So Thomas and Hiro explored around the Railway Museum, and even got a chance to sit in the roundhouse and have some people marvel at their sights. And as a bonus, both Thomas and Hiro spent the night at the Kyoto Railway Museum. And next morning, they had to wake up early for a delivery from the port.
Good morning, Thomas. There is an assignment for us today. We must make a delivery to the Shuzenji Romney Railway, a miniature gauge railway.
A miniature gauge railway. Like the Arlesdale back home. I can't wait to see that.
Sayonara, Thomas-san.
Sayonara.
It means goodbye in Japanese.
Oh, well, sayonara to you too. Thanks for showing me around the museum.
After their whistles and goodbyes, Thomas and Hiro made their way back to the Shimizu port. The cargo has been imported from Yakushima Island. As expected, the cargo was small, but Thomas didn't mind. Both he and Hiro made their way to the Shuzenji Romney Railway. When Thomas was pulling into it, he was amazed to see that the railway actually had some British theming on it. Even a couple of miniature British engines were working there, with one being Northern Rock II. Thomas pulled into the station where the men unloaded the cargo, and there was a tiny little green diesel.
Konnichiwa. Thank you for delivering me. My name is Mori. I will be a new addition to the railway. I used to work on the forest line on an island before its closure. So I will now reside here, with the exception of the line being extended deep into the forest.
Thomas was excited for Mori, and he couldn't wait to see the passengers being pulled into the platform. Thomas and Hiro waited and waited, but no engine came.
Where is E10? He should have been here by now.
Maybe something's gone wrong.
Thomas and Hiro decided to rush over to the Shin Osaka station to see what happened. They soon found the problem. All of the trains were delayed because of an error on the computer screen, showing, as the people nickname it, the blue screen of death.
The computers are down! We can't see the timetables!
Waza! How are we supposed to know when to arrive at some of our destinations?
Luckily, a couple passengers had already snapped photos of the timetable before the error. The controller written down the timetable and scheduled all the engines he could to make up for lost time.
It's time to show them what real engines can do.
Thomas rallied up Kenji as well. He was going to need his speed and assistance as well to make up for the delays.
We don't have a second to spare. Let's get rolling.
The computer error had lasted for a few days, so Thomas, Hiro, and Kenji were hard at work rolling backwards and forwards along the Tokaido Shinkansen line.
I still claim to be the master of the railway!
Sure enough, this weekend, the computers were back online. Thomas was glad to have helped out his mutual friends.
Maybe I've misjudged you, outdated machines.
Really? Oh, why, thank you, E10.
And all of the electric diesels hummed their electricity and pantographs to their new friend.
Another job well done, Thomas. Come, I've got a surprise for you.
As Thomas and Hiro rolled down the line, it wasn't long until a sweet smell had risen in the air.
Something smells good. It's like herbs.
It must be the tea fields. We are getting close.
They finally arrived at the Oigawa shunting yards to rally up some coaches, when Thomas saw a shocking sight.
Huh? Percy? A twin of Hiro? Rusty's standard gauge and Toby's a diesel? What is going on?
Oh, it's okay, Thomas. They are just engines dressed up as your friends. And it is not standard gauge, but rather Cape gauge. Welcome to the Oigawa Railway. It is where they do the Day Out with Thomas events.
Japan does Day Out with Thomas events too? Well, bust my buffers! We're way more popular than I thought.
So for the next few hours, Thomas and Hiro rallied up passengers and dropped them off at the Oigawa Railway to spend time with their duplicate replicas. But slowly, Thomas started to feel a little sad. Upon seeing Percy's replica, he remembered of how furious he was with Boxy's incident, and how the last thing he and Percy did was argue. He didn't even give Percy a proper goodbye. Thomas felt ashamed. So, that evening, when it was dark and the railway closed, Thomas started practicing his apology to the Percy dummy.
Thomas? What are you doing up so late?
Nothing, Hiro.
Thomas, you sound troubled. Did the sights of the dressed friends make you feel homesick?
No, it's just... Before I left Sodor, Percy and I got into a heated argument about my souvenir. That being an American box van. I called it Boxy. Percy may have taken it without permission, but it was my fault for not lecturing him about the loading gauges of global rolling stock. I didn't even get to say goodbye to him. So, I'm just practicing my apology with this replica before I return.
Oh, I see.
The worst part is, I'm his best friend. I know he's done okay without me when I'm away. I even sent him letters, but this is different.
Well, Percy's not alone on the island at least. He is among many, many friends back home. So I believe he is doing okay. And perhaps when you write him a letter, you can add your apology.
That's a good idea, Hiro. I'll do it first thing tomorrow.
That sounds like a plan. But for now, we deserve a well-earned rest.